City before we. Are there any requested changes to the agenda? I'll move the agenda as presented for Thursday, November the 13th for the committee of the whole session. Are there any disclosures of interest? Oh, sorry, second. All in favor? Are there any disclosures of interest on the agenda? Hearing none, I'll move on. Approval of minutes. Are there any comments or concerns regarding the minutes from the combined CEO of the committee of the whole council from October 9th, 2025? There are no announcements or proclamations. And we do have one presentation. I would like to welcome Helen Young, our manager of finance. Thank you.
This presentation is for the general operating and water utility budgets for the period ending September 30th, second quarter of 2020. Moving right into our operational budget versus actual, we'll look at revenues first. Can I stop you for 1 second? Sorry. Are we able to get copies of this so we can follow along?
I can copies, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment.
So I can just go downstairs and
Yeah, for 1 minute and we will reconvene.
All right. So the meeting is on hold, 7:03. now all councilors have a copy of the general operating and water utility budget.
Start with the revenues. Taxes, which they've all been billed out, the percentage is 107. It's a little bit higher because of changes in assessments. Grants in lieu of taxes, we haven't received that yet. We'll receive that this third quarter. That represents the property for our CMP and DOT properties on Main Street and Main Street West. Sale of services, that is our water utility rate. That's an internal billing. Revenue from own sources is $82,505, which represents 45%. We will have a lot more in terms of after-school programming and things like that, so that number will jump. Unconditional transfers from government, equalization payments, previously called annually, it's $167,683. That amount's going to stay in place until 2031, so that's not going to change. Unconditional transfers from government, which is an MCAL grant. We did just receive that last week, so that as well is not on this document. So overall, our total revenues are at 100%. Moving into expense, our legislative expense is 44%. The actual is 48,719. Administrative expenses is $362,370. 48% of our this year's budget. Police protection, $114,091, represents 50% of the billing. That's September 30th. As well as protective other, it's at 50%, representing 50% of the billing of the third quarter. Environmental health is their expense is $125,951. It's at 36%. Planning and development, actual is $48,909, 52%. Recreation and culture, $241,199. Actual is 58% of the budget total. And physical services is $861,852, and that's at 89%. So fiscal services is like our debt repayments and things like that. So overall, the expenses are at 59%, which in my opinion is a fairly good spot to be for half year in the second quarter. We still have $1,196,388 left that will be expensed in the remainder of this fiscal year.
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah.
Can you repeat that number?
Certainly.
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
Move right into the water utility operating. Total revenues, 51.2%. All of our billing is going out. Staff are working towards collecting on any overdue rates, and those efforts continue month to month. But it is in good shape. Expense with water utility, pumping, $7,515, 59.6% of the budget. Water treatment is at $89,254. So it's a little bit below what we would think it should be right now. Transmission and distribution, $10,604, represents 18.1% of the budget. Administrative in general is $90,643, representing 9.3% also added in there EBITDA, so before income taxes, depreciation, there's another amount that's factored in there. There's different. So overall, the water utility budget is for expenses at 48.6%. We have the surplus of 397,652, which will be expensed throughout the remainder of this fiscal year. Before I open the floor to any questions, I just want to take the opportunity to ask a request to council for input and feedback on the upcoming 26-27 budget. Items that they would like to see addressed in that budget, as well as some input on our public presentations for this year. We did 2 presentations last year. Attendance was a bit low. So maybe we can think about doing 1 presentation this year instead of the 2, but again, it will be whenever is requested. So now I'll open the floor to any questions, comments.
Open the floor for questions.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Here's Councilor Osborne.
I have a couple of questions. Environmental health. What is that?
That's our
That's my thought. Another word. Okay. And the water treatment plant, or the water treatment? The water treatment amount, so we only have 22% left in the budget for half the fiscal year. Is that my understanding, or we've only spent 22% of it?
we're below.
We've only spent 22% of it. Okay. And no, that's okay. That's okay. But what does that mean? Does that mean that's like the chemicals, or is that something different, or?
So I'll tell you specifically what is. It is mostly chemicals.
No, that's good. That's
And
great.
purification testing, maintenance of equipment, operator.
So you think we're in pretty good shape halfway through? That's basically where we're at, right?
This is.
Councilor Rogers. The water utility for administrative and general to be 90% halfway through. So if we keep that trend, we'd be 180.
So in there, we have the payment to the town in general, which is an internal billing. That's the 84,273 that we see recorded as revenue on the operational budget. So that's a pretty big piece of administrative expense. The other things that we have in there are relatively small. It's bank charges, interest, small amount from the auditors, and some insurance.
So in 6 months, without that 84,000, it won't be too much over. Is what you're saying?
No, it's not going to be. We don't
Okay.
have too much.
We're not trying to be 180%.
No.
Okay.
No.
Thank you. Any other questions?
If there's no other questions, I don't know if we're going into the discussion. No.
Yeah. favor of two. I have to recognize that everybody can just schedule, et cetera, childcare. So if we had two, that increases our runs. And it doesn't mean that we just have one.
I agree with Councilor Blanc, definitely two sessions. I think in-person sessions, I think we look at continually having them at the community center. I believe we will get more engagement this year. I think everyone is well aware of an online petition regarding budgeting. I printed it off so that I could have it here in front of me. I am fully in favor of what the public are asking regarding this online petition, which they're asking for full and transparent review. They're asking for a public information session. They're looking for consultation regarding whether we should amalgamate or not amalgamate. They're looking for full review on our financial, our cost, like everything that we would talk about in a budget engagement session. So I ran on this in 2016, and so I am fully engaged in this online petition. I think I do believe we will have more engagement this time. I think people are becoming more and more aware that we want the engagement, and I think, as a council, wanting that engagement is part of what I like about this session and about this council. But I do think, it's something that the residents have been asking for a long time, and I agree with Councilor Blanc that it should be two.
I think we'll get more. I think people were skeptical last time with having a new council. Now that we've been here for a year, I think that
Councilor Blanc?
council, I'm curious what she got figured. I think there's some things that if I see environmental, I do know. But if we put down wastewater, I got it. But then coming back to what do we have under transportation and public works? What is that total cost? What does that cover? Okay, you see what I'm trying to say? So it's just nice to say transportation, public works, but that covers snow removal, that covers. Yeah. I think we need to flush it out for people to grab more descriptors. And I know I mentioned air, for example, was 25,000 from the province. It shows up one place, but it doesn't show up somewhere else. Just a little note that says $25,000 per salary comes from, what made a difference in how we pay salaries. So I know it's a lot more technical, but if you understand what I'm trying to say, a lot of people might be more willing to come if they understand better what we're really talking about.
Absolutely. And I do have So, this year will be very detailed, and, that's just for transparency.
And then if I may, Madam Chair, print it a little larger, because some people have a hard time seeing the letters.
That unfortunately could be a bit.
Okay, I mean, this is great. What I found last year was a little hard to read. And I wasn't the only person who did
I don't print them, so.
that. Yeah. Hey, you asked for the.
But it's noted.
I will do my best.
Thank you.
And I can address that. We don't need without you. Pull things up, we can.
Any further questions or comments?
So I would like to put a motion on the table that we hold the 2 in-person sessions and that we recommend to council that there are 2 budget consultation sessions and that we ought further recommend to council that we gather data and information to evaluate the pros and cons of either remaining the town or amalgamating with the county, and further that we hold a public engagement session to discuss that.
Would you like that one motion or two?
One.
Two different things. Okay.
It's all about budgeting.
I wasn't sure if it was one for the public engagement session, one for looking into the details.
So it's all one, because it's a public, I'm asking for 2 public engagement sessions, right? That's what my recommendation is, and I can reread it if you want me to.
You can, whenever you read it, give me a minute. Well, set up so I can check. Document.
Okay, so I recommend to council that we hold 2 public engagement sessions in person at the community center, whereby we evaluate the pros and cons of the financial structure of the town and discuss and evaluate. Evaluate the pros and cons of the town. Okay, and further evaluate the pros and cons of remaining in incorporated town through the budgeting process. And within those 2 sessions, have set aside time to discuss that data. Yep, within those 2 sessions, so maybe an hour or more. Point to discuss the financial structure of the town. So what they're asking for is an information session, from what I read here. Hold a public information session and with consultation so the residents can understand full transparent of the financial structures, service delivery costs, tax rates, which are all in our budget.
I think we're talking about 2 really big things, so I'm gonna vote no. And we should have just something to do with the budget. And if we want to go into another discussion about information to the county. That's a whole other discussion. And I think you're trying to pull the two together, we're gonna be all over the wall, but I could be wrong. But at the moment, I'm gonna be.
This is. Mhm.
Yeah. I'm gonna hold on.
Did you want to?
The friendly amendment is divide the two things.
I have no problem with that. It just means more staff time.
That means no time for us. But I think it'd be clearer and sharper, I think.
I was hearing too, but, this is we could discuss that now and split them, or we can discuss that. at the
Yeah,
council
we can split. Unless he makes an amendment.
And I'll make an amendment that we split the motion into two parts. One that deals with the budget.
Or I can rescind my motion before it goes to the vote and rewrite and rework word.
For process, we should just.
Do you want me to rescind it and then
I think
redo
that'd be
it?
best because.
Okay.
Because the motion is put on the floor first and seconded, I think we need to rescind
Okay,
and start with a new motion and first and second and go
Okay.
through the process.
I'll rescind it.
Okay.
Okay. I'll make a new motion. That we hold 2 public engagement sessions for the 2026-2027 budget forecasting.
And I'll second.
Any, discussion? All in favor?
And then I would like to make another motion that we hold a public engagement session to discuss. Yeah, sure. Sorry. That's okay. Okay.
I can get them back on. New motion.
The second motion is that I recommend the council that we hold a public engagement session to look at the financial structure, the service cost deliveries, the tax rate in comparison to the county, as well as look at the long-term benefit, cost, and feasibility of amalgamation or dissolution of the town, and such. Oh, hold on, I better slow down. You good? Okay, and such public engagement session be held at the community center, providing to seek feedback from the residents.
Motion on the floor, can I have a seconder? Any discussion? Question from all in favor? Thank you very much for your presentation, for the discussion at the table, and we are moving on to written petitions that are done, to move into business,
And I just want to thank Alan for all the stuff. The budget process was easy to most staff and council at the table last year. We probably worked to get things back and we're reporting effectively to the public. The province, we're hearing people, and the process is going to be a lot easier one this year. So thank you to Alan for steering us through that. In terms of CAO report, lots going on right now. One of the things we want to bring the public attention to is we had a report earlier this year about some changes to our waste management systems. We know we're nearing December 1st, at which time we will join circular materials, municipality of Colchester, Truro, and Stuart have partnered with circular materials. And it's going to just do some changes to recycling in the province. You're going to follow the same recycling rules that we live. Most municipalities have joined on to the program, and it's essentially a program where we manufacturers are providing a stipend for recycling services back to the municipalities for pickup. You'll be able to recycle more materials than ever. Things like coffee cups, deodorant, toothpaste tubes, frozen juice cans. We're going to have a lot of communications coming out to the public in the next few weeks to educate the public on changes. What we're going to ask the public to continue to do is please download the Colchester waste app. For information for STUIAC is within the app that's available on iPhones and on your Android phone. We'll have the information on our website, Facebook, and communication hard copy at our front desk. So if you have any questions, call the office. We'll be happy to have our staff will be ready to answer the questions as best we can. Public Works report. Just since the last meeting, the mandatory water conservations have been lifted. We've seen some rain, state precipitation, the river levels are coming up. However, the trough of the river and roads cause a high level of turbidity in the river. The turbidity levels that we've seen in the river are some of the highest we've ever seen. That's causing water treatment to happen slower than usual. No issues. In the tank, we have plenty of water, and we're just taking on for the system to administer the process to treat the water. With the fall winter approaching, we're getting ready for snow removal season, winter road maintenance. We ask residents to be cautious and aware of winter road parking restrictions, which will come into effect in December, and that'll be here before we know it. Just in terms of the municipal parking ban, we advise residents that there's no parking streets from hours of 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. for snow removal. Put some public puts out and reminders out in December as the road maintenance operations continue. The water tank maintenance project has begun. It has been slower than anticipated because of the turbidity levels in the river, with also some changing of equipment in the plant. We've replaced a couple of new pumps. Had to do some valve changes, things like that to get ready for this water tank maintenance and cleaning project. And we've begun the outside work. We have not got to the inside work yet because of the high turbidity levels in the river. So I will update council and the public that we continue on that project. The desludging project, which on the revenues report, the sludge removal has been completed. Demobilization has begun. Number 2, some word geo tubes that are going to be used. The policy will be 2 a year. Water treatment plant design project, the draft request for proposal is complete. It's about 95% complete. For some funding to be able to have some conversations with council about funding that project and moving we're working as fast as we can on that. Public Works staffing update. We just want to acknowledge to Stephen Van Herk from staff will retire. Celebratory get together tomorrow for Stephen, and we just want to thank him for his hard work and dedication to the town and for our water treatment facility. He's been an excellent addition to our team and hard worker. We're pleased to report though that Angela Taylor Holstein, she's been a part-time employee of the town for quite a while. She's assumed to be starting on Monday to replace Stephen. She's being trained as a PhD training. So we'll see no gap in staffing levels at the water treatment plant. Continue to train Angela and working with the team full time. Community development, Erin can jump in if she has more updates, but right now youth sport programming is starting basketball in 2 weeks. It's gonna be a Christmas happening December 6th. All the information, Facebook page, for the town recreation department. Recreation program is doing presentation grade 5 and 6. They are seeing parks and recreation spaces in the community. For the fire inspection, in the community center. In terms of fire updates, this is a notification again from the police for district fire department. The fall dinner dance is happening on Saturday, 22nd. Policing updates, continuing to talk to the RCMP. I met with the RCMP and provincial staff last week. Just do a general update on general duty police resourcing modeling that they've been doing for our community. With some updates to come to council and some conversations that will happen in the future about policing needs for the community for the future. And with that, I'm going to be meeting with the province and Scotia Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Mr. Armstrong next week. The mayor and some staff to talk about the police review that's occurring and the information they're going to share through us to the town that we'll bring back to council for information. So, with that, I'm okay.
Any questions? Councilor Osborne?
I have two actually. One's really easy. The hard copies for the new waste collection. Is there any way that we can also get those sent to like the senior residents and things like that? I will need one for my mother because she certainly doesn't.
Great comment. We can probably get them up in our town.
And then just a question about the desludging. Is there biofuels in our sludge?
I will get you the answer on that. Yes. What? Process. That question still haven't really answered. What can we do with that potential removal? Those questions are being answered, and I'll come back to you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to 9B, that was, Richard.
Yeah, so tonight, I'm seeking a recommendation to council to approve the operating agreement between the County Turo, Millbrook First Nations, County of Colchester, and the Dominican Nova Scotia Tourism Development Society. We've been working probably almost 2 years now on getting the Tourism Society up and running. So it's formally been established not-for-profit society under the Societies Act, and the bylaws have been approved and adopted by all of the councils involved, and same with the memorandum of association. So we've also hired an executive director for the Tourism Society. We haven't announced who that is just yet, but this is the final step so that the Tourism Society can finally start taking applications for funding for special events that drives tourism to our region. Any questions for? I'll go for a motion.
I'll make that motion that we recommend the council to approve the operating agreement between the town of Tuyac, the town of Truro, Millbrook First Nation, and the municipalities of the town of Colchester, and the Central Nova Scotia Tourism Development Society as presented, and that council authorizes the CAO to execute the operating agreement.
May I have a second? Mr. Garcia. All in favor? All right, 9C, that would be.
For council, I put together a memo. I think talking quickly. Training, speaking with the province of Nova Scotia, East Holland, governmental advisor. This is what the opportunities that are there for the trainers that council wish to have any training provided by the province of Nova Scotia. or any additional training opportunities for staff to seek out on your behalf. There are a number of sessions that I put before council. I did add one this morning. We added a new session yesterday. I'll just run through them quickly. Municipal governance, public meeting requirements and private session exemptions, meeting procedure overview, municipal conflict of interest act, meeting procedure, smart motions, meeting procedure, procedural potholes, meeting procedures, committees, strategic planning toolkits, and the new ones of history of municipal governance. So with that, it's training needs right here. Council. Seek any training opportunities.
It's interesting that last one got added because that is a lot of what was discussed at the NSFM conference, and I've got kind of some notes made here for my report on the NSFM conference. But that municipal governance piece was the very first day of the pre-conference session. That's what it was about. Actually, to tell you what the title was, it was called Meetings That Matter, Governance Strategy, and Public Trust. So, and I know that the Deputy Minister, Paula Flesch, and the Minister of Municipal Affairs, talked about this a lot. So, it's interesting to see it get added. The other one, personally, that I would like to see is social media. Was another topic that was at the NSFM, social media and the pitfalls of social media, and how you exactly what it said. How you navigate the policy versus the personal. And again, I found that very interesting. There's unfortunately a number of municipal council members, mayors, and councils that are being threatened and have had to have police protection over the last number of years. And it was disheartening to hear, but it's the reality of social media. And those are the two things I'd like to see. I'd like to see both of them.
Like the last one, running.
So what's the, how do we go about doing the training? There's a lot of
There's nothing. We can integrate them into council, so we can add recommendations with presentation or doing business. Some of the sessions are 60 minutes. We can schedule, or we can have special council.
somebody come make the presentation, or do we do it like a Zoom?
So that would depend on the presentation and facilitator where it's from. The municipal government staff, Jason Holmes, or municipal manager, there's some that he does, there's some of his colleagues that do. I know, I believe it's Ross McDonald, who's the municipal advisor. He's in Cape Breton. He does the municipal government. Because we have to arrange for him to come. He might be able to come in face to face, or he might send him to
Just if I might following that, is it personal development? Like, is it personnel development? Like, is that how what it's under? Like, is the sessions open or they closed? Like, I don't know. I truly don't.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I think they would be open, but if it need to be, a training session, we can look into those. I don't know.
I don't know.
Not per se.
So it'll be, so it will be.
Which then would be.
Any further questions? Comments? Discussions? All right, moving on to bylaw and policies. There are none. So citizen comments. Are there any citizen comments tonight?
Hi, I'm Shannon McPhee. Y'all know me now. I'll be very quick. I just wanted to kind of pass along. The senior social yesterday was the best attended. And if you guys could see the participation, the laughter, the involvement in that session yesterday was absolutely phenomenal. And I do want to thank Recreation for finding some savings to carry on the social to the end of the year. And my only comment is, as budget process comes along, I'm still going to advocate for reinstating the amount that we had for senior social. So I just want you guys to take that into consideration. Simply when you do your budget for next year, I would really hope that the amount that we had previously would be reinstated. Bill puts a lot of effort, and the money we save because of him is incredible, and the value that we get. Like, if you have a chance, like, pop over sometime. Yesterday was just phenomenal. And one other question just regarding public presentations regarding budget. I know I had brought that up to the CAO back a while ago. I think people get frustrated because the detail is not there during a presentation. So even me, like, I don't know what to ask because I don't have, none of it makes sense when we go to that and you go through your feelings. There's nothing against you. But at high level, we don't know what to ask. Like, and so as citizens, so it wasn't until I went Helen last year and asked for your, the comparison, the actual, and then you look at the 2 years, and that kind of gives a person a better idea what we're even looking at. So that's just a suggestion as you talk about presentations, because I think if there's more information and easier to get that information, you will have more participation. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments on that? No comments online. We'll move into the mayor's report.
Been a busy couple of weeks. We've had the Halloween Community Center. 400 to 450 kids came. It was absolutely fantastic. Hats off to you, Aaron. Great job. Thank you to all of the participants from the community, those that donated, those that brought their little kids. I just think it was a fantastic time. On the 11th, I was honored to lay the wreath for the town at our Cenotaph. Attendance for the Remembrance Day, I thought again was fantastic. Great turnout, and the weather was okay. You know, it didn't rain too hard, but it was a decent day. I attended the NSFM conference from the 4th to the 7th in Halifax. As Councillor Osborne was saying, it was very informative. It was a very good conference, and I look forward to the next. I have briefly met with Scott Armstrong a couple of times in regards to the wonderful congestion that we have on Main Street and Highway 2. It is unbelievable. The province will be early in the new year doing a study to see what kind of assistance we need in that area, and chances are we will have it.
Thank you very much. Council report. Can you start with Councillor Osborne?
Sure. So I attended the NSFM conference. In the interest of time. However, I did attend the pre-conference session, which I thought was extremely informative. There was it was not well attended, and I was actually quite disappointed about that. The pre-session actually focused on aligning processes and behaviors to build that trust, to build the credibility, and to build effectiveness. And it looked at the Robert's Rules of Order versus the strategic actual practices, which I thought was great because it looked at elements of effective meetings, defining roles, navigating engagement, all those things that we've been talking about as a council. What I found was interesting to note, and we find this interesting as well, is there are many municipalities around the province who do not provide an opportunity for citizen comment in their council sessions. Some have them at the beginning of the meeting with a very strict time frame of 15 minutes for a Q&A. Some require questions be submitted in writing. But what I found really interesting was the different aspects of how council do things in a different way throughout the province. Day one, the theme for the whole week was collaboration, finding common ground, speaking with one voice. And I know, from different social media things I've heard, Steve the mayor saying we were better together. And I think that goes with what the theme was with the conference. It was awesome in the Soul Awareness Week. And again, the council training session that we were talking about tonight goes directly to the conference, and the conference is saying there's nothing like personal development. We all need it. No one's perfect, and we all learn to grow from it. Mayor Mood had who was the outgoing president, I found her very inspiring, but I usually do anyway. But she talked about when the province wins, we win. And when municipalities win, the province wins. And I think sometimes we forget about that. And when she was talking about the province and the municipalities working together, like she said, we don't need to beat up on each other. We're all here for the betterment of all of our communities. And I think that speaks volumes. And I think that's true for anyone who gets involved in municipal politics. The keynote, talking about funding, our CAO, there's many online training modules that are going to come online soon. Kind of fun in there. But they're all supported and funded by the Department of Municipal Affairs. So that will be a great learning tool for all of us as well. The keynote was the founder of Peace by Chocolate, Tariq Tahini. No, I'm going to say his name. But he spoke about thankfulness and gratefulness, and what really struck me was a couple of things. When he talked about coming over from Syria, he talked about their story and what they left behind, and their, what they had as a career over there. But his quotes were these: "No one shows up empty. Every refugee and immigrant has a story. And when there are challenges in life, you can either be a victor or a victim." And then he also said one other thing, and it's interesting because today's World Kindness Day. There is one thing that is more important than the return on investment, and that is an ROK, which is the return of kindness. So I thought that was good. And there was fireside chats in the municipal panel, and the last two kind of were tied in together. It was about social media and the effects on mental health in social media, and how mentorship is really important, and supporting each other, and just being careful who we confide in. It talked about leaders stepping up, and it also talked about the unfortunateness of a number of municipal leaders being threatened on. I found this conference, and I want to thank council for the opportunity to go. For me, I always learn something, but society's changing. I think we have to talk about it. And social media is changing. And we all use it as a tool. Matter of fact, one of the quotes is 1 in 6 Canadians have Facebook, which I didn't know. So I think, if you get a chance to go to the conferences, I always learn something. And the networking is priceless. So,
informative. Thank you for sharing. Councilor Rogers. All right, Councilor LeBlanc.
I did attend the Halloween get together, community center. That was fantastic. Really fantastic costume. And every time. The big snow. End of the social time yesterday, and I believe in my notes, it's 76 people attended. It was a really good turnout and a really good time. I also attended the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities meeting, and disagree. The call comment. The intention. People.
Thank you very much. First to go into camera.
We go into in camera at 7:59.
I'll second. Thank you. Can I second. Sorry, you did indeed. All in favor? All right, no,